Hello, so this is day 3 of the Purpose Driven Life, and today's title is What Drives Your Life? So he listed 5 of the most common things that drive our lives. Number 1 was guilt. So a lot of times people will spend their whole lives running from regrets or trying to hide their shame. And he said that guilt-driven people are driven by memories of the past. So they end up allowing memories of the past to control or dictate their future. And this was something that really stood out to me. A lot of times they will unconsciously punish themselves by sabotaging their own success. So that's something that I can relate to. I know there's been moments when I feel like my life has definitely been driven by guilt. Guilt for not having my whole life together before I had my kids. And that's not good, because then I'm letting the fact that, okay, I didn't have my kids at the right time, and so now I kind of feel guilty or regretful of that. So now I'm going to overcompensate by that by trying to do all of these things to make up for it. And that's not going to lead to success. So the author goes on to say, we are products of our past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it. God specializes in giving people a fresh start. And isn't that so awesome to know, no matter what you've done or are doing, no matter what's happened to you, in God, you get a new chance. He said he makes all things new. So you can have a new opportunity to just kind of start over and be who he's called you to be. I know a lot of times we'll go into different situations, like getting out of high school and going into college, and you see this as your new start. But if you didn't find God somewhere in that process, or going from one job to another, yeah, you could change that stuff, but you still gonna be the same person. And I hate to say it like that, but that's something we'll talk about a little later. So the second thing that drives a lot of people's life is resentment and anger. So people will hold on to hurts and old pains. The sun is playing with your girl, but it's okay. So people will hold on to past hurts. And so instead of releasing the pain that they begin to feel through forgiveness, they will hold on to that pain, and they'll kind of replay those situations over and over, getting themselves upset about the same situations over and over. So some of these people may kind of have conversations where they'll keep talking about old stuff and just repeating it to anybody who will listen. And even if they're not vocalizing it, then they'll be doing it in their head. And so he was saying that in the end, you're really just hurting yourself. You're hurting yourself much more than whoever it is that you're angry or you're holding resentment with, because your offender is probably going on about their life, and they living life and not even thinking about you anymore. And I honestly think that that's what ends up making people even more angry, because they see the other person living their life. And so, but just let it go, and then you can give it to God, and you can begin to walk in that freedom, and you can go on living your life just like the offender. But the third thing that drives most people's lives is fear. Fear-driven people often miss great opportunities because they're afraid to venture out. So yes, fear of failure has definitely been a big driving force in my life. So fear of failing my kids, by not being able to provide for them. Fear of failing just to be successful. So not really wanting to take a chance on doing something that God's calling me to do, which will require me just completely stepping out on faith and trusting and believing that God's not going to put me in a situation to fail. Trusting that I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Fear that people are going to judge me, so that would keep me from taking part in different opportunities that I've been given. Even just trying to make friends, fear that I'm going to go and approach someone and they're going to just reject me. So fear can definitely cause you to miss out on great opportunities. But I'm so grateful that I've gotten to this place. So when I get an opportunity to do something that seems so much bigger than me, or makes my heart start beating fast, I'll just, I'll go for it. I'll say yes before I can even talk myself out of it. Pray about it and just be like, you know what, God, just help me get through it. So to fight against fear, you must move with the weapons of faith and love. So if I have faith that he who has begun a good work in me will see it to completion. Like, if God has started something in me, if God has called me, even though he knew me, he already knows everything about me. He knows my strengths and my weaknesses. So he knows what I can do. If I can have faith and trust in him, then that kind of helps me to get past my fear. And love, if I do things from a place of love and accepting God's love, then that helps. So I know that God loves me unconditionally. He's not going to put me in a situation that's going to really truly hurt and break me. He's not going to put more on me than I can bear. Then that helps me to overcome fear. Also, if I walk in just wanting to love my neighbor as I love myself, then the things that I see have helped me and the things that I know have helped me to overcome, then I will overcome my fear of maybe being judged or rejected. I'll overcome that because I love other people and I want to see them walk in freedom and wholeness. And maybe they will reject what I have to say. Maybe they won't like or comment or whatever. But if they listen and they gain something from it and they get freed in the process, that means much more to me than anything else, because that's coming from a place of love. So 1 John 4:18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear." The fourth force that drives people's lives is materialism. So that's a desire to acquire more things, and that ends up running your whole life. So a lot of times people will have this misconception that if I have more, then I'll be more happy, I'll feel more important, and I'll be more secure. So people will think that, okay, if I have more money, then I have more security. But at the end of the day, we see with our economy and how people's health are up and down and just the things going on around us, that, yeah, there's a certain amount of security that you can get from money, but it's kind of like temporary, because if the stock market crashed today or tomorrow, like, your money is not going to be worth as much. Or if you end up in a hospital sick with some terminal illness, that stuff is expensive, so that money that you have might not seem as securing when you have high medical bills. So the only way that we can really find security, or our only true security, is found in that which can never be taken away from you. And the only thing that can never be taken away from you is your relationship with God. So that's where we need to go to find our sense of security, not money and all the things that we see, because everything in this world is just temporary. So the fifth force that drives many people's lives is the need for approval. So fear and the need for approval, fear and the need for approval have definitely been two of the major driving forces in my life. I feel like they kind of coincide, at least for me personally. So the need for approval, that is allowing expectations of parents or your spouse or your children, teachers, friends, whoever, to control your life. Those who follow the crowd often get lost in the crowd. And to be lost in the crowd is something that's like, that's one of those hopeless moments. Like, you were trying to get approved by people, but now nobody's even paying attention to you. You just lost in a whole bunch of people that's moving quickly around you, and you don't even have a sense of yourself now, because all you've been seeking this whole time is some validation. So I think that's something that's heavily seen nowadays, especially with like social media, with that instant gratification. Someone doesn't like my pictures or comment, then I'm going to take it down. Like, if I don't even know what's a cool number of likes that you need to get within an hour. Like, I haven't reached that like level of, social media popularity or whatever. But there's some people, if I don't get like 50 likes in like 5 minutes, I'm gonna take that down. Because if people didn't like it or comment, then obviously whatever I was posting about is not that amazing. But a lot of times people don't want to acknowledge that they like something, because it kind of made them feel a little jealous or a little envious. Or if it's like, if I tell you that you did something good, somehow that takes away from me, and that's not true. And I know I'm saying that now, but growing up and even recently, Like, I've wanted people to feel like, like they were proud of me, or like I was helping them in some way, or they were with me, or they were approving of whatever I was doing. So that has really, really dictated a lot of my decisions. Or if I told somebody that, okay, I'm gonna be or do this as my career, I felt like, okay, I have to just kind of stay with it. I have to just keep doing that, even if I don't feel like it's what I'm supposed to be doing, because I don't want to let people down, or I'm afraid of what people might think about me. So he said, one key to failure is trying to please everyone. Being controlled by opinions of others is a guaranteed way to miss God's purpose for your life. So that's something that we really have to take a hold of, that being controlled by the opinions of others is a guaranteed way to miss God's purpose for your life. So a lot of people said that the approval of others or validation is something that drives their life. I think it was like a little over 80% of the people who responded. And that's just because we all just want to be accepted. Like, we all want to feel like we're doing a good job. But if we get so caught up in that, we can miss what it is that God's calling us to do. So I know for me personally, on this moment, growing up, everybody's known me to like want to be a doctor, or now wanting to be a nurse, or wanting to do something in the medical field. And I don't remember if I ever posted the video, but my whole entrance into wanting to do that field was, I've always had a desire to help people. And somewhere along the way, that was, the route that I would go to help people. But there's always been like this disconnect. Like, I'm in this place where I'm like, okay, like, God, maybe that's not exactly the lane that you're calling me to pursue. Like, maybe that was just me trying to do things in my own strength, which I know for a fact is probably very true, because I know that I'm good at school. I know that I can study. I know that I don't mind reading books, going to class, all of those things. Like, every time that I've been in one of those situations, I feel like, I can do this. And lately, that when I say that out loud, or I feel that, it's gotten louder and louder. And a message that I was listening to recently, Sunday, by Pastor Samuel Blakes, was about destiny. And one of the points was that only God can fulfill your destiny. If you can do it yourself, then your dream is too small. So, like, becoming a doctor or a nurse, like, yes, schooling to get to that place or to get that career is hard. But that's something that I know that I could do by myself. So to just not go down that path, or tell people like, maybe that's not what I'm gonna do. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of open right now. I'm just trying to see what it is God wants me to do, because I want to feel fulfilled. That's been hard for me, because I'm like, what are people gonna think? Are they gonna be like, you're crazy, or you're a quitter, or you're a failure, or all of these things. But I've also come to this place of peace where, you know, I'd rather be doing what he wants me to do, the person who created me and knows everything about me, past, present, and future, than to worry about people's opinions. Because at the end of the day, I can do what everybody wants me to do or thinks that I should do. And 10 years from now, if I'm not fulfilled, or I'm not doing what I was actually meant to do, I'm going to be the one living with those regrets and the problems, or the void in my life, not nobody else. So yeah, don't let the approval of others try and just dictate what it is that you do in your life, because you're gonna miss out on what God's called you to do. Pray about things, let his peace lead you. I know I kind of went on long with that one, but I know that's definitely been something heavy for me. Matthew 6:24 says, no one can serve two masters. So either you're going to do what God wants you to do, or you're going to do what man wants you to do. You pick. God provides everything you need, even the air you're breathing. Man, I'm sure they might have some things they providing, but if it's more important than the little oxygen you have, let me know. So the author goes on to list 5 benefits of the purpose-driven life, and I think I'm going to include that in a separate video just to make this one a little shorter. So y'all be blessed.